Hey everyone, this is Kevin, the film critic of iCritic, and I wanted to make a quick note before this video begins, really out of necessity. As the title suggests, yes, we are returning to reviews on this channel. I'm definitely very happy about that. Unfortunately, this first review got copyright claimed for using clips of the movie in question. I want to assure you they were completely within fair use, so that's just something that happens on YouTube, and I had to make some last minute adjustments, and the video is not quite the way I wanted it to look. Now, if you do want to see what the uncut version looked like, I will be making it available to Patreon members. Unfortunately, I can't make it available to YouTube members because the YouTube copyright claim system, but I can make it available, I believe, I guess we'll find out if that's true or not, to my Patreon members as an exclusive video, so you could see it. It's totally fair use, but YouTube's antiquated copyright system flagged it anyway, and I didn't want my first video to basically spend 3 months basically being in dispute limbo. So we've uploaded this alternate cut instead, and if you really want to see the original version and support the channel, you can go to the Patreon page. But yeah, unfortunate way to start, but otherwise I hope you do enjoy the review. We look forward to your feedback, and yeah, we will let me know what you think in the comments below, and let's start the review now. It's a tale as old as time in anime form. Belle is the new film by director and anime superstar Mamoru Hosoda. One of the major themes in all of his movies has kind of been two different worlds, for the most part. I mean, The Girl Who Left Through Time is honestly kind of a anomaly in this regard, but you have wolf children, where a woman marries a wolf man thing. It sounds a lot weirder than it actually is, and has his children. And then you have The Boy and the Beast, where a boy winds up in a mystical world. But the biggest thing that Hosoda likes to do is kind of show the internet. Like I said, he got started on Digimon movies, and most of his movies have characters going to the internet, where the internet is computer animated and it's vibrant and it's like a big social gathering of sorts. And this was most prominent in Summer Wars, and there was even a small scene in Minari where a boy goes to like an internet hub world. When I heard that Belle was going to be about a teenage girl who creates a singing persona in a Facebook type metaverse thing, I honestly was a little concerned. And it's not because I feel Hosoda is wearing this topic thin. Far from it. Hosoda can really make whatever he wants to make. He's just that good. The reason I was getting a little concerned about it is, frankly, I'm not sure if we can keep making movies where we look upon the digital world, if you will, the upcoming metaverse, the idea that people can go to a internet space and create a separate persona from their real life and basically start brand new. I don't know if we can still look at that as necessarily a good thing. And I know it might be unfair to be blaming Hosoda on this, but there have been a lot of new information about the ill effects of social media. Facebook and Twitter, how it's politically divided us worse, how Instagram is harming our teenage girls, and in some cases adults. And you then see movies like The Social Dilemma, and then there's the Facebook whistleblower. And you start wondering, like, well, geez, I don't know, maybe the metaverse is more terrifying than we realize. Maybe this isn't something to be cheered on. Maybe we should actually be actively pushing back on the idea of a metaverse, because without the metaverse, things have already been pretty ugly here. And if you actually can plug in where you literally jump into a computer alternate reality, maybe that's just not a good thing. I don't know. Am I overthinking this? Let me know in the comments below. So with all that in mind, I approached Belle with a little bit of trepidation. Like, will the new information on how social media is really harming society in general and almost causing catastrophic damage to mental health, is that going to be too big of an issue for me on Belle? Or can I be swept up in the story and enjoy it for what it is? And the answer is I can totally be swept up for what it is, because Belle is an awesome movie. This is amazing. The fact that it's basically about the very thing that I'm concerned about and can still be this wonderful, beautiful, almost magical film, dare I say. I think it's wonderful. As I kind of hinted to at the introduction, Belle is actually kind of a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, and this is what's going to be interesting for people watching it. See, anime fans like to brag about the fact that they don't watch Disney animation. Like, Disney animation has not had an impact on their life. They were much more into Dragon Ball and Sailor Moon and Neon Genesis Evangelion. And I know people who think that despite the quality of Disney animation, that Disney animation is low-hanging fruit. It's basically singing teapots, and it's Phil Collins songs, or I guess in these days Lin-Manuel Miranda songs. And, you know, they think it's kid stuff. They don't have a lot of need for it, and so that's why they watch anime. And I've been one of the few people in my group of anime-loving friends who've actually said that actually American animation has influenced anime way more than you realize. In fact, I think it's still influencing anime today, and they think I'm crazy. But when they watch Belle, I think I'm gonna win that war. Because with Belle, when they're inside the virtual reality, which is known as You for this movie, they are literally retelling the Beauty and the Beast story on Disney's terms. Now, let me make it clear. Beauty and the Beast is a public domain story, and anyone, and I mean anyone, can make a story on Beauty and the Beast. So that in itself is not new. But when you watch this, it's very clear that Hosoda was inspired by the Disney adaptation. There are little creatures around that aren't inanimate objects, but they are clearly supposed to represent the candle and the teapot and the clock. And even many of the poses of the Beast character are ripped straight from the Disney movie, and they even recreate a ballroom dance. And granted, Hosoda does it in his own way. It doesn't, you know, look exactly like how Disney does it, but when you watch it, you would have to be crazy to not see the influence that Disney had on this ballroom scene. Like, Hosoda clearly loves the Don Hahn produced Disney film, and it clearly left an impression on him. And years later, he is making a Beauty and the Beast story that, yes, it is his own thing, but it has been heavily inspired by what Disney did in 1991, and I personally think that's awesome. And on the other hand, you do have this unique original story about a girl named Suzu who is not popular in school, who kind of doesn't like her life, probably going through a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder because her mom died and she never really got over it. And she basically enters the You social media world because she wants to start over. Like, she is told you could start all over in the digital world, so she goes to You, creates this persona Belle, starts singing songs, and becomes a major sensation. And basically, she is living the life of popularity, privilege, and being insanely loved by everyone in this online world. And then when she gets offline to the real world, she's shy and awkward, and basically not a lot of people pay attention to her. And considering my concerns I had about where Facebook and Twitter are heading, this is probably the one aspect of the movie that I had a little bit of a problem with, because it seemed like Hosoda was still looking at the internet with starry eyes. Like, the internet is where you can be someone completely different, and we should embrace this. This is nothing but a good thing. And I don't think it's necessarily a good thing to be trying to escape the real world, to live in a fantasy world that isn't real. But thankfully, the film majorly turns it around. Now, I'm not going to say how, because it does something a little unexpected. Because the thing is, I was afraid that they would be completely pushing this whole idea that being in the digital world is a perfect substitution for the real world. And without spoiling the twist, that is not the case. There are people that she meets in the digital world that when she finds out about her real world, or their real world counterparts, I should say, she finds out that they are in a lot of trouble and she needs to help, and escaping to the digital world isn't going to make things better for them. They need to actually deal with the situation in the real world. So by acknowledging at least this much, it did rope me back into the story, and that meant that Belle could be both a whimsical fantasy musical, because there are a lot of songs in this movie, and the songs are excellent. And thankfully, you can stream the soundtrack both in Japanese and English on iTunes and YouTube Music, pretty much anything, and it's all legit. You can do that. So not only is it this fantasy musical that's whimsical, but it also is a slice of life drama that acknowledges some of the harsh reality of the world and why people would want to escape to the digital world. It's just overall fantastic movie, and it also is a great looking movie. And in fact, Belle does something that I have really never seen another animated film do, even from Hosoda's own film. It has a great way of illustrating the difference between reality and fantasy purely through aesthetics. So in the real world, all the animation is hand-drawn, the old-fashioned way. Like, it's painted, it's drawn, it looks very, very old-fashioned. But when they enter the social media site, even though everything is still 2D looking, everything has been animated with computers, which means it's a little shinier, it looks a little smoother, and it doesn't look as natural. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is brilliant. This is such a brilliant way to convey the difference between reality and fantasy in a cartoon where technically nothing is real and everything is animated. It's quite an amazing achievement, and I am so happy that Hosoda found a way to do it. It should also be noted that Belle is Mamoru Hosoda's first IMAX film, and he takes full advantage of the giant 6-story screen. Just when the movie ends, there's like a couple dots of lines across the screen, and then it gets closer and gets more and more detailed, and before you know it, you are surrounded by really what I can almost call overload of animation. It's really impressive. Thankfully, we are getting a decent IMAX release in America. I heard that it was only supposed to be like a one-night thing, that, you know, hardcore fans could see it in IMAX for one night, but then some movies started to get delayed, like Morbius and things like that. And before you knew it, well, IMAX now had some extra showings available, so people actually have a good chance to see it in either Japanese or in English in IMAX in America. And so if you have the opportunity, I highly recommend you do it. Even if it's not like a legit IMAX screen, even if it's just like an IMAX screen that's a little bit bigger than a normal screen, it's still going to provide a much better viewing experience than a standard screen. Although if the standard screen is the only one that's available, by all means, go see it. It's going to be good in either format. For Mamoru Hosoda's Belle, I give 4 stars. Thank you so much for watching this review. If you want to read my print review, you are free to do so over at my personal blog, iCritic.net, or you can check me out at Letterboxd. And I would like you to comment below what you thought of the movie. Did you like Belle? Did you have any issues with it? What would you have given it? And what movies would you like to see in the future? Become a Patreon member and make your requests there. Otherwise, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and I will see you later. Flame responsibly.